All right, so today on the pod, we are here with Damon Sumner, co-host with his wife, Katoya, of Sum It Up with the Sumners. We are excited to have him, another podcaster, obviously, with similar genre of podcast, man. We are excited to have you, so welcome.
Hey, man, appreciate y'all having me on. I'm excited to be here today.
Awesome. So we're just going to jump right in it, have everyone kind of get to know you. So we had to ask, who is Damon?
Damon. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm the oldest of three boys. Stand-up comedian. Shreveport, Louisiana. I love cheesecake. I hate Brussels sprouts. I could go on and on for days, but if you put it in a nutshell, I think I'm ready to have a good time. I think that's dodgeball intramural champion 2005. That's important to know, the people to know that at home there. A lot of great moves back in my younger days with my two good knees. So I'm excited to be here today.
I remember what it's like to have two good knees.
Oh,
it was a while, but or even 1.5 good knees. I'll take that.
The good days.
And you've clearly never had my Brussels sprouts, but that's, another
true story. I co-sign on that because I generally don't, but I'll eat.
I've traveled many of states and I've heard this statement.
He said, I'm here to prove you wrong.
Another time. I would love to prove you wrong another time.
All right. How long have you been married?
Been married 13 years, together for 16 years.
That's awesome. How long was your engagement?
Our engagement was about 6.5. I proposed to her in December. We got married that following July.
Oh, so months.
Yeah.
Okay, heard you. It's
Yeah.
good.
How long did y'all date before you ended up proposing?
About 2.5, because we got together. We got married on like our 3-year anniversary type of deal. So about 2.5. We got together on our graduation day of high school. Actually, went to the same high school, rode in different circles. We had like one conversation in freshman year, and then we didn't talk again until senior year. That's how. Same building for 4 years, two different worlds. And then, long story short, a couple of things happened senior year. Boom, boom, few dates. And, I asked her out, which is very anti 18-year-old Damon. And then, the rest is history. So
that's a fantastic story. I'd like to dive into the boom boom and
let me know. What do you want?
But that's good. Maybe another time.
Another time.
Good. So what do you think is the best thing about being married?
And I think, without a doubt, to me, the best thing about being married is doing this crazy life with the person that you love the most. Like, the life in itself, all of the turmoil, the ups and downs alone. But when you've got a sidekick and a co-pilot with you who you love and you laugh with, you go on adventures with, like there's nothing better than that. You know what I mean? Somebody who's there unconditionally, thick and thin. We've done so many adventures, so much has happened. So that's the best thing about being married.
What's your favorite characteristic of your wife?
She's a ball of energy. She's tons of fun. She is an extrovert. I am a false and a fake. I'm a phony compared to her. I just look fun in public. And so she's ready to go, and I love that.
Man, that's amazing. So yeah, that's he said I'm funny in public, but she's funny all the time. I love it. What is a challenge, or what has challenged you in being married?
Mm-hmm. We talk about this often on our podcast. It's something about the idea of marriage that, and maybe this can relate, and maybe it can't to y'all or anybody else listening. There's something absolutely insane to me, if I may, about marriage where you have two different people from two different worlds, backgrounds, makeup, and they're like, hey, let's come together and make this one thing work. I know you did it your way. I did it my way. I'm sure we're going to easily figure this out. And so one of the biggest challenges has been figuring this out in the middle. We grew up similar, but when those stark differences pop up, it's like, oh yeah, that's big difference. Oh, you'll use the restroom when I'm brushing my teeth. Oh, okay, yeah, we real different. You understand? And so that has been really really a challenge at times. And I was going to pinpoint down to one. It was one of our biggest challenges. It's such a small thing, but you know how in marriage small things can blow up. She's like, she goes to bed. She can go to bed early, and I'm like a night owl. And so we have stark differences, especially in the first few years of marriage. It's really just you and spend a lot of time together. And so figuring out the appropriate and good rhythm of amount of time together was a journey. So I'll stop there, but yeah.
Yeah, that's good, man. It's talking about relatable. I am the night. I'll always have been.
Right.
And struggle with that.
Yeah.
Yes, I am the converted night owl because she's the night owl. And I am not. I'm the early one. I can stay up, but I would prefer to go to bed. And so, yeah, that's good.
Me, I'm lit off of 2.5 hours. Let's go.
Ready.
So I got more for you. What was your example of marriage?
It was mixed. My mom, single mom, 3 boys. I'm the oldest of 3. And so she, looking back, it was, I didn't really see my folks married. They got married and divorced when I was like 4. And then she was single. Then she got married again to a guy. And then she got married a 3rd time, which she's still been married for. So that was kind of up in the air. Then my aunts were very similar. But I had one aunt specifically, and then my pastor of my home church were the 2 examples I saw of just this healthy, fun-looking, fun-loving marriage. And those were 2 cornerstones that I had my eyes on. My aunt and my uncle, just through thick and thin, I just kind of saw the relationship that was just like very consistent and stable. They ain't look the funnest, but they were there, and I knew they had that just tough, good love. And then my old pastor and his wife, they had that romance. He would still be trying to flirt and tease and make a blush in public, that little stuff right there. So I had both of those, and so those are 2 things I really look back on and still appreciate to this day when I think about examples.
Man, those are solid. One more question. Sorry I didn't put it on the paper, but what's your secret sauce? Like, what makes your marriage work?
Couture and I, we believe that you can never over communicate. And so that is just something that I'd rather you tell me 4 times and get on my nerves and not tell me once, and it leads to a conflict issue here that we didn't know. Like case in point, we been married 13 years. For 12 years of our marriage, we had 1 car. And, we grew from 2 people to a family of 5, right? And so that communication was the sauce that just kept things going. And so as my career transitioned into comedy and travel picked up, our communication has been our foundation. I mean, to us having the same calendar app. I know where she is right now. She knows where I'm going to be in 3 weeks. And so that communication has been crucial and vital for us.
When did you land on that? You've been 13 years, and sometimes we don't always know what we know.
Sure.
At the beginning. So if you did, that's great. But I'm just asking for my sanity.
No, probably going into that 2nd year. Well, to be honest, when we got married in July, and then we moved to Atlanta. We were living in Texas. We moved to Atlanta to help be a part of a church plant. We moved to Atlanta pregnant, homeless, jobless, with 20 other people with this goal, with this mission. And so right off the bat, our worlds are changing. We get married at 21 years old in college, then let's go do something different. Our families are like, what is happening right now? And so us as a unit, young as a unit, we had to just kind of grow in the midst of that journey in itself. And so, I mean, I think it started from the jump because it had to start from the jump in the midst of all that.
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you're thrown into a place where you have to communicate, you become master communicators. Period.
Period.
Okay. By fire. Man, so let's get into this topic.
Let's
Want to
do
talk
it.
about
Let's do it, bro.
what's the first thing that just pops in your head when you think date night with wifey?
Gotta have it. Gotta have it. Non-negotiable. It's mandatory. You know, in the midst of everything that's been going on, you know, things have been different, but in just the grand scheme, you know, it's such a for us an important necessity concept. Like, it's important. It's just a structure in our marriage, and so it's helped keep, and we'll unpack things. It's helped keep fire and magic and spontaneity. So it's gotta have it.
I agree 100%. There's really nothing else to say about
Yeah.
that. So in the midst of, you just saying, you got married and all those things were happening, pregnant, moved to a new city, all that. How did you come to that we still need to do this? And how did you do that with all those things going on?
Sure. Well, if I could back up for just a second here, I think when we talk about date nights, a lot of times in the conversations, at least that I have, it seems almost as if it's a new concept in the sense that before you got married, we went on dates. Before we said I do, we were dating. We were going out. We were planning. And then somehow, for some reason, for many people, won't say all, like, this date night begins to take on a different form that can become more formulaic or more like a burden or obligation. It's like, no, we've been dating. That's how I got you, boo. We was out at the dinner, going out, getting dressed up, smelling good, looking good. And so it's really the idea of just keeping that throughout the I do, you know what I mean? And still just maintaining and maximizing it. Right. And so to get specifically to your question here, it wasn't, those weren't the best days, sleeping with a pregnant wife and a stranger's futon. Those aren't the highlights necessarily, but the dates, getting out, like, I ain't got a job, I'm pregnant, we away from family, but if you could get cute and smell good and go eat some good food and laugh and not think a little bit about the worries and the life and the bills for a moment, it brings you back to that person across the table, man. And so there's that joy that can revitalize in the date night. And so, yeah, that was from the jump, that was something that it was so important for us. It was so beneficial for us. And so it was like, okay, well, this got to stay.
Mhm. That's huge. Just thinking about that mindset, right? Because a lot of us have that mental shift once we're no longer dating, we're married now, and all the things of life happens, right? Like, I've got 3 kids as well. Date night is few and far between right now. At the moment, it's a choice for us because we're in this phase of our life where we're trying to pay off all of our debt, right?
Sure.
So in that, we've made the choice not to do the date night thing so often, but we still get them in, right? Like tonight, we've got plans.
Bet.
But having that mindset of, no, like, I want to stay as engaged as possible with my wife, make her feel sexy, make her feel wanted, and in turn, make her want me so I feel
Come on now.
like a man.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Come on.
That is the most.
Yeah. Definitely.
Woo.
Yeah. Yeah. Sela, just sit right there. Sit right there in it.
Right? I've got this note here that says how to take the burden off your wife for date night. And I think that hits very hard for me. And just for some reason, I have this expectation that if she wants to do something, she's going to tell me about it and we'll go do it. But, I on this end of it, understand that as a man, I have the responsibility to pitch in for that, right? I can't just always leave that on her shoulders. So what advice would you give to the listener about being more proactive in, sweeping your wife off your feet?
Yeah. So I'm gonna say some traditional and general statements. I want to put that caveat here, and I know it doesn't hit everyone. In a traditional, and I think we said it a few weeks ago, traditional general sense, it seems like a lot of times in real life, and definitely like when I watch TVs and movies, it appears as if the wife, the woman, typically has this sense of planning and organization, kind of just in their DNA, which ain't always the case. Right? The woman isn't always the main cook. Sometimes the husband is the one always in the kitchen. Sometimes the fella stays at home, you know what I'm saying? And the wife brings in the bacon. Sometimes, like there's so many differences in each relationship. So when you got to figure out the rhythm and routine. So I just want to kind of make that little statement first on the front end, right? And then, but typically in this general sense, especially as I've talked with guys and specifically husbands for years, there is this challenge of usually the wife planning, whether it's as big as vacations and trips to even small as weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever type of date nights. And I think one of the biggest things for myself personally is where I took the preparation I just kind of took that and put that on my own lap. So what I mean by that is like, all right, if we want to do a date night, at least for us, what I'm saying, where we are right now in this stage of life, it's not as spontaneous, right? You got 3 kids, you got 1 kid, maybe you just got a pet, right? It's just like, boom, there's several things you got to do. Shout out to people if you got a plant, all right? But there's certain things you just got to do before you can just, boom, walk out the door. So we got to prepare, right? If y'all were like, yo, Damon, we in town, yo, let's go have, a little triple date night. And I'm like, tonight? Fam, tonight has been planned for a month ahead of time. So it's not going to happen tonight. And so that preparation is something that I've kind of been like, all right, well, cool. I'm going to take this. We're going to look into the calendar a month or 2 in advance and kind of plan and think through things now on the front end. So when we get there, it's already in there, just like your man's time where y'all were going to go play some Texas Hold'em, or she was going to go out with the girls and talk, or it was going to be a family movie night. It has to have the same, if not more to a degree, importance in our lives. And I think really I think it starts with a mindset. I think the mindset and the mentality of understanding just the purpose, right? The purpose is to continue to still enjoy and appreciate your spouse, right? To still have that enjoyment and that desire, right? And that love for your boo. And so once that mindset is kind of in the right position, and then you can really kind of take it and move forward with some ownership.
That's what's up. And I want to challenge you a little bit, just
please.
Because I'm thinking of the listeners who might say to me, well, Damon, I work all the time. I'm tired, boss. Mm-hmm. I just don't have it in me to be planning a month in advance, bro. What would you say to that person? What do they need as far as like mindset? And
sure. I would say big picture. I would say think big picture. I would say if you want to be in my opinion, a strong, healthy, thriving relationship 5-10 years down the line, finding that time, carving that time now to continue. It's like oil changes, yo. If you want this car to go the distance, we got to continue to put in this important, helpful work to keep it moving. You look up 10 years down the road and y'all don't talk to each other, the fire gone, y'all in 2 different worlds. Like, that's not going to be just out the blue. And so that's going to be because we made a lot of decisions, right? Here on the front end in the present tense, that's going to impact, right? Like when my kids are gone, like I think I forget the age. My wife knows the age is better, like of when they'll be gone, because we had kids fairly quote unquote young. We'd be like late 40s, fam. Like when all of them, you know what I'm saying? Late 40s? Come on, man.
Let's go.
Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm 48 and Lord willing, in good shape and good health. And I'm like we strangers, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm taking that on me as a husband, like, man, looking back. And so my encouragement with that, one, if I'm talking to you and we talking real, I'm like, yo, fam, we all tired. So that's off top. I'm just gonna be, we all tired. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah,
All right.
for sure.
But understand, one, again, going back to that purpose, that mindset, your wife, your beautiful, amazing wife, right? Who you love, who you cherish. How's she feeling, right? It's not just about me. How is she feeling wooed? Is she feeling desired? Is she feeling cared for? Is she feeling longed for? Right? You know what I'm saying? So I want us just to keep that in mind, those perspectives. I think that's important, because that is real and that is true and valid. But also, those were some things I would just encourage you with.
Love it.
Man, so yeah, let's get into, you said you took on the responsibility of preparing. So what does that look like for you? What have you put in place as you're taking that on?
Sure. Let's dive in. Let's get to the meat here. So I think a couple of things that has been helpful for us, and it's been helpful for others as well. And let me also say, I'm not an expert. I know what I know because of trials and error, and I steal great ideas. That's I forgot who it was, but a sage told me, he was like, babe, when you hear a good idea, you take the idea. So this is a conglomeration. But one, again, can't over communicate. So I think off top, frequency, right? You got to talk about frequency. What makes sense to you, right? Making the choice. Let's pause back. Maybe we finna kill dead. Our work schedule's different, right? So let's just get on the same page, right? I think it's important for couples to have ongoing conversations about date nights, right? Because things change. When you go from 1 kid to 3 kids in 2 years, all right, well, even off top, you go from having, stay at home to, now you got a longer commute. All those things matter. Nothing wrong with it. Talk about it. So the frequency, right? Right now we're on a, safe in the midst of everything I don't know if it's bi-weekly, twice a month, date night schedule. Right. And then we talked about day of the week. We talked about structure. And where I want to encourage, everybody, including myself here listening, is like, you don't have to be rigid with it, like with the date night. The rigid Tuesday night, 7 to 9, you know what I'm saying? Or Saturday evenings, like, and I'll speak for myself. I'm a pretty type A kind of structured guy. That's kind of how I'm wired. And I can get caught up in that. When, real talk, like sometimes a babysitter is much better at 3 to 5 p.m. on a Sunday. And I'm like, all right, bet. Well, let's switch it up. Because Tuesday night, maybe they got, maybe they in college or maybe you tired after work. But a little, what I'm saying? After a little nap on Sunday, you feeling a little more free. We'll switch it up. So I think having those conversations about consistency, right? That frequency, and kind of trying to create a little structure about the day of the week here. I think those are just 2 things off top when you talk about planning. I don't know how much more you want me to get into, but I'm gonna stop right there. The start.
No, that's good, man. And you got me thinking that date night doesn't always have to be this huge grand thing. The intent is to spend time
Facts.
with enjoy each other, and focus on each other.
Yeah.
As often get to do when we have all the I don't want to call my kids the distractions, but I mean, they're
things we love can be distracting.
But that's great, man. I think that'll be very helpful to the listeners. What other little tips and tricks do you have to maybe do some planning or to have some ideas of good date nights?
Sure. So a couple other things I think can be helpful for everyone, in my opinion, is one, create categories, right? I think you hit it right on the head when you talk about how to be this grand thing, right? And so, and literally, like, if you're listening, like, don't think this is some big thing where it's got to be like this conversation has to be huge. Like, it can be like, all right, just you wrote down 5 things your boo like to do. You write down 5 things you like to do individually off top, right? Then you write down 5 things y'all like to do collectively. Off top, that's 15 at minimum, just 15 things right there, right? And so there's this beauty in one. All right, there's things we like to do. Then there's things I'm gonna love and do that you like, right? Because that's part of marriage, right? And
Mhm.
vice versa, right? If I know if you want to walk around, safely this outdoor strip mall for 2 hours and I'm gonna be your shadow, do I love to do it? No. But do you like to do it? I'm here for you, boo. And we can just talk and have let's go. And then over here on the flip, maybe I'm not into it really, but all right, babe, you want me to come and do some top golf with you or whatever on the other side? Cool, right? And then we do some together we like. That's off top right there. So creating categories. That's one piece. Then you got the indoor date nights, right? All right, let's cook a meal together. Intentionally, let's make it a movie night. And side note, team, it can't be Netflix and chill every night. I don't want to put that out there, but I digress. All right, so we cook a meal together. Maybe we pull out some Scrabble and open up some wine, right? Maybe we do whatever random things. One thing, and when we first got married, we actually were really big into playing these game show network games together. It's a very fond memory. We're like, dang, we did do that, and so, but those were just indoor things that we did, indoors, right? For safety, for weather, for whatever. So make us a short list of things you could do inside the house. Then make a list of a few things depending on where you live, like outdoorsy. And I don't mean anything crazy. I'm talking about like take a walk. Like just talk with your boo and laugh with your boo and just like literally just take a walk. Just walk for an hour, laugh, be nostalgic, make fun of your kids, whatever you want to do, right? And just kind of just share your heart, where your passion's at, just that outdoor thing. Maybe you're into hikes and all that world. Go research some place in your neighborhood that you got to drive 45 minutes out. Look at the stars. Like just try to open up your mindset. Because that's what we did when we were dating. Now y'all got me warmed up. That's what we did when we were dating, yo. We were trying to woo them, right? We were trying to woo them, knock them off their feet. So we're trying to be, let me look up this tapas. Oh, that's hot right now. Oh, salsa. That's what's up right there. Like everybody was doing salsa back in the day, and then it just fell off the map. It just fell off the map. Where did salsa go, big dog? It was crazy. But this is all I'm saying. I'm just trying to remind us of the things that we were doing and bring it back. Right. So we got the indoor, we got the things we do individually, we got the things we do collectively, we got outdoorsy. And then you can make a little short list of, kind of, all right, this big ticket stuff right here. All right, we put on the blazer, right? We stepping up in the hill or whatever the case may be, right? We looking good, right? You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna go to this. This is there's a few very nice restaurants that's on our list. That's probably, we'll probably hit a few of them in the year. You know what I'm saying? You really want to make that happen. My wife said the other day, she's like, I got these dresses and I haven't worn them anywhere. And I don't know. And she wasn't like saying it to me, but she was saying it to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know when I'm gonna wear these dresses. Like, okay, I hear you. I got it. Check. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I want that. You want that. And I want you to feel good. You know what I'm saying? And so, which helps me feel good. So creating some categories, right? And just working off of that. So when you come up in next month, like, dang, what you want to do? Oh, boop, just open that notes app, boo. Would you feel like staying in? Oh, we can go out. Oh, boop, pull that out. We good, right? So that's one off top right there. Can I share another one?
Sure, go ahead.
So for specifically for dads, right? You got kids. I think one thing that I hear, and I actually put this in a Facebook group, and the comments were crazy. I was like, what's one of the biggest reasons you're not having consistent date nights? And I don't know, hundreds of comments, and most of the comments were around the babysitter. Now we're gonna take off. I know it's real. We're gonna take off the pandemic for just a second and put that here and just talk generally speaking. It is very important, in my opinion, to create the babysitter database. All I'm saying with that is that you should know, if you have kids, not one, that ain't enough. 2 to 5 people, couples, families, individuals who can be in the rotation for, watching the kiddos. Why is that important? Well, all right. Well, money's always gonna be important. Time and energy is going to be important. And who's watching the kids if you have children is going to be important. So we want to have a database. Like right now, in the midst of everything, we've got about 4 people who we feel good with, the kids feel good with, who we trust, right? It's about trust when we're talking children. Come on. And so that's important, you know what I'm saying? So we have a couple singles, we've got a family we'll do swaps with. You know, we got a few different things. And so that can take off the pressure, that can take off the angst, right? I'm trying to get back to spending time with my boo. Let's take everything off as the man. How can I help, right? My relationship. I'm trying to take this off. All right, we got the categories, Damon. Bit. All right, now I got about 3 to 4 to 5 people, and maybe it's just family. Maybe you live around people, you know, your family, and that's cool. I don't, so I've got to build this through my community here, and we have. And so you want to build that database. And last thing I'll say about babysitters specifically is put it in the budget. If you ain't got a budget, that's a whole nother episode. But put that bad boy in the budget. Date night category, whatever that number is. If you don't have it for, you know, if you haven't put specifically how much it's going to cost for that babysitter, add that to the budget and move something out. All right. And that's important as well. So when you talk money, you've already locked it in. So that's no longer angst. We've got somebody watching our kids we trust, and that's gone as well.
This man says, stop making excuses. I don't want to hear it.
Basically, yes, get yourself together. There is nothing you can't do as a husband. Get it right.
Listen, man, it's those oil changes, yo. We do them. We need them. You know, we gotta have them. I had a friend, 2020, they got divorced, known them since college, got married around our time. And, you know, long story short, they quote unquote fell out of love. And I asked him, we don't talk much anymore. I was like, you know, what's one reason you feel like that happened? He's just like, we just didn't spend any time together. Is that only date nights? No. Are consistent date nights a piece of that puzzle? I would venture to say yes. So I think they're important. I speak highly of them because they matter. And I think, again, it's what helped us get to where we are now, being a husband: the dating, the wooing, the planning, the thinking through events, trying to sweep them off their feet. And nothing should change because you have a ring on your finger.
Yeah, man. I listen to you talk is just giving me life, because I'm not so good at that. More so just we generally have a lot going on, which everyone does. But I am a person, I wouldn't say I'm type A, but I can get caught up in like lists and plans and like making sure those are right there.
Yeah.
So it actually helps me categorize. Everything you're saying resonates, because it will just be easy for me to be like, okay, what's the date like? Because I run out of ideas, even though we live in a city where there's so much to do.
Sure.
Or we could do nothing and have fun time together. Just talking to my wife, she'd be like, we can just play, you know, a game and it'd be good, right? It's just like, why didn't I think of that? But yeah, if you are intentional and say, okay, these are the categories we're staying in, everything you just said. So, but you just, instead of it being this abstract idea that I have to pull together, like you just said, boom, just do this. Like, I'm gonna go back and listen to this, take even more notes, and be good. I'm gonna be Superman right now in the dating space because of that. So I appreciate that. So, I mean, you talked a lot and gave a lot of good tips, but what do you see as what works for you, or what would be like your kind of go-to, or like, you know, like what is 1 or 2 things that you're like, boom, like to make a good date night, this is what has to happen?
That's a good question. I think one, I'm gonna make this 1A is just that being plain. We do not do well. We know who we are now as a couple. My wife and I, we do not do well now as we are with our family life, with day of, maybe even week of, hey, this is what we're doing. Like it just causes, it's caused too much conflict. So we know who we are. So in general, I think, again, those intentional steps that you just kind of talked about, again, reaffirming here, if you get those done, that's already going to just relieve a lot, right? So that's just off top, boom. Now, with that, I think the excitement, going back to what we were doing before we got married, that excitement leading up, right? It's like like the enthusiasm about it. It's like I think there is something there that we miss a lot in marriage because we have so much going on, and the kids, and the bills, and the debt, and the home renovation. Like your life crazy, man. It's crazy for real. But like when we just try to make things simple, like when we were dating, you know what I'm saying? Like you would text him before the week. I'm so excited to see you. Like there was this buzz, yo. There was this buzz. And there was this excitement and enthusiasm with it, right? So I think even there's that pregame, right? I'm talking pregame right now before we even get to. I think that matters as well. Man, babe, I'm excited to got that new dress. I'm excited to see that coming up this weekend, right? Yeah, like just those small little nuggets leading up to it. I think that pregame matters, right? So you are excited. So it's not when you hit Friday night, you really want to do this. Nah, let's just stay. You know what I'm saying? And so, so that's one. And then I think also, if I'm honest, is consistency. I think it makes sense and it's very easy to not do it. I think that's true for most of us, if not all of us. And so being consistent, working that muscle. Cause like if you're listening right now, you're like, yo, I appreciate the insight, but I ain't been on a date night in 4 years. Forget the pandemic. It's been a long time, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe you do them and they ain't what y'all want them to be. Cause that could be you too. That could be like, all right, we're doing them, but they all the same thing. You know what I mean? And so one, we got to be consistent and trying to mix it up. And so just continue to being consistent with. I think those two things at pregame, that enthusiasm and being consistent with it, you'll look up, hopefully, optimistically, and in 3-6 months, you're like, yo, then we did do that. Oh yeah, we did, do that little paint and sip. Oh, we did go over there and do that random museum. Or we did go over and do that double date, whatever. Like, getting out of comfort zones and just because you're going to continue to push yourself if you're trying to be intentional as a husband of trying new things, doing new things. Let's try cuisine we ain't never had. Like, we did this thing. Now I'm on a tangent. Stop me because I get excited. We did like series, right? We did series. This is another one. You can make a whole category where for 1 month, we were just going to just do like dinners. We just did like barbecue. So it was cool to it had excitement about just trying new things alone, yo. Just trying new things alone is an excitement. So we just hit different barbecue restaurants. And then another month, take this, leave it. We did Groupon. We were just like, let's just be, I don't know. And we did a murder mystery. So much fun. Never thought about a murder mystery, right? You go to a Groupon is like a $5 bin at Walmart. You're like, what's in here? I don't know. Let's see. What's in here? What we doing? You know what I'm saying? As you want to paint with strangers? All right, whatever. But it's different. You know what I'm saying? And so I digress, man. But those are a few things that come to mind.
Yeah, man. Hey, you touched on it briefly. More of a meta question. Like, I'm sure it's going to be different for different couples, even just the individuals within those couples. But my question to you is, does it count if it's a group thing? Does it count as a date night?
Thank you. That's the other category. Thanks for the reminder. Double dates. Yes, it's actually the best cheat. You should have a list in those categories of couples. There's 2 couples right now we're excited to get with soon. Absolutely. Have one, similar to podcasts, I don't have to necessarily plan as much for the conversation because it's going to naturally just kind of flow with that other couple, right? But yeah, I would definitely recommend having some couples that y'all both enjoy on that list. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe, you do a month, a series where it's just that, or maybe you're like, all right, you ain't got to be as rigid and structured as that. I'm just giving ideas. But you're like, yes, let's, we ain't hung out with them in a while. Boop, let's go do some karaoke. Oh, that's random. I know. Try it.
Love it. Love it.
Help you with that is, hey, remember your friends' birthdays because they're probably wanting to go out and celebrate.
Yeah. And I think, oh man, I forgot. I think it was you, Brian. You were saying, correct me if I'm wrong. It was one of you at least who talked about we could even do nothing and have fun. I think somebody just said that a few minutes ago, and that's so true. Like if you just hung out, just with friends or just your boo, right? And y'all just just talked and laughed. Like that enjoyment is there. But that date night, with those couples there, those birthdays, for sure, golden.
That's my go-to, and I think that was Paul that said that. But
Okay, yeah.
a good thing for us, like when you're staying in, one thing that we used to get into when we had less kids, at least, was game night. Like that's another cheap, because
I love game nights.
Fun, man, and then you don't have to go anywhere. You spend a lot less money. You know, you can tell people stuff. You know, just open the freezer. You're planning for it. Man.
Love it.
Right.
I'm with all this chicken, and I'm gonna do something. What, fajitas? That's like cost me $7 to feed 13 people.
Bro. Right. Say it, brother.
Well, and it was already in the fridge, so it's not even really like it was already a part of the grocery budget. Like it's not a double dip. Like we just out here just doing it. You know, so
oh my goodness, absolutely. We love game nights. That's actually one of the reasons why we started our podcast, is because game nights were an easy and great way for us to hang out with friends and talk about life and marriage and relationships. And we lost that, in 2020. And I was like, man, let's try to start these conversations back up. Yes, that is. I would go in right now if you're listening, and I would go ahead. If you were trying to do twice a month, make game night just to start building consistency. Make game nights one of them. Just a few couples who you feel comfortable and safe around. Boom, and y'all can rotate houses. Maybe it's the trump card, which is whoever's got the youngest baby. You go to their house, whatever it is. Figure that out. Boom, just put that in there, and that's already going to be a good time right there, guaranteed.
Right, and then you make the rule. You wake it, you take it. The baby wakes up. Whoever did,
that's it. You know how I go.
Everybody else keep playing. Whoever woke the baby up, you got baby duty till the baby gets back to sleep. Period.
Period. You want to be too loud as categories, so now you out here rocking. Put the baby back to bed.
You want to be loud now. You're gonna be quiet though.
You just stomped up my go to the bathroom talk.
Oh goodness, it matters, man. All these things matter. You know what I mean, when you talk big picture.
For sure, man. That's all. I think that's all the notes we have. Do you have anything else that you want to hit on, or anything else you want to leave the fellas with?
I just be, hopefully, this brought some value to anybody listening here, and just be encouraged, you ain't gotta, this is what you're hearing now is, 12, 13 years in. So if you've been inconsistent, if this hasn't been something that you love to do, if you think you're anti-planner, my encouragement to you is just start simple. Start simple. You ain't got to put on your best suit. You ain't got to break the budget. Just start simple. You know what I mean? And I just think there's a beauty in, so when you talk about leadership, right? For some reason, it feels like, generally speaking, that doesn't fall into taking the intentionality in the midst of date nights. If for whatever reason, over time in society, it has not falling under leadership in that aspect. And my encouragement is just to be like, yo, just keep it simple. You know what I mean? And start at your favorite restaurant. Like, hey, babe, I want us to be better. Or, hey, babe, I want us to maintain. Maybe you're crushing it right now. Shout out to you. And I want us just to maintain that. Just keep it simple, keep it consistent, yo.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I've found that one of the best times I have to speak about future date nights is on date night, when it's just like, hey, you really enjoying this? Should we do more of this?
Yeah.
And that's a good space for you to really focus, and, like our previous episode, listen to your wife about what it is that she wants and needs from you.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, one more thing. Sorry, team. I would put in the category is this staycation / getaway. That is, the staycation specifically, that could be as simple as, that's just a night at a nicer hotel. You know what I'm saying? And it just feels different. Or you could take a little bigger if you can make it happen. Where you maybe. Right now I'm in Atlanta, Chattanooga's a cool little city. It's like 90 minutes away, right? And you just kind of, so it feels like a little mini, you know what I'm saying, vacay here. So that, if you can make a few of those, right? I think all of us desire to have larger vacations, but I'm talking about just on a more simpler thing here. Just a little mini getaway here. It's like, all right, you come at 6. All right, they'll have breakfast. They can watch a little TV, a little screen time. We'll be back by noon. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of keep it simple if you could. Those are a few other things that maybe you could try to do, you know, every quarter or things like that as well.
Man, that is a great idea. And just to piggyback off that, so for dads or fellas that don't know what to ask, and you need for a staycation, you need someone to watch, you know, if you have a pet or you have kids, right? My son, he's in his 20s, and he asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I was like, man, I have no idea. And I was like, actually, something to do with the date night for me and your mom, something that just us can do. So him and his fiance, they actually gave us a 24-hour like ticket, so they would watch the dogs,
Come
watch
on,
the cat, watch
let's
the kids.
go.
So like this is, so even if you're not married and you have pets, because that's a thing, like when you go out of town, like if you have to board or you have to figure that out, like if there are people that ask you for things and you have a hard time giving them something, do something that will give you an experience with your wife, right? Or even if it's down to like, man, I just like a gift card to like AMC or Regal, some type of movie theater, right?
Sure.
So that saves you on the budget, and it's like not something that traditionally your wife will give away to someone else, right? Because a lot of times, you know, we'll get something and she's like, oh, you know, like we would hem and haw about using it, and then she's like, oh man, we need to give someone a gift. Let's just do this, or like give a portion. We'll spend this on the kids too. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get to a space of where we are intentional for ourselves, even though our heart is always to give out to others. So I would just say, like, ask people if you have older kids or like people that you trust, like, hey, can I have 24 hours for you to watch the kid, and I'll cash this in later.
Yeah.
And, you know, that could work out.
Love it.
Yeah, that's good. And when we get cars like that, I actually typically use that as an excuse to invite other people along. Like found money, right? That's you know, because life is hard out here with 3 kids, but
it is.
You know, so I like to try to see my friends as often as possible, and that just is an excuse to invite them, and you know, kind of hot for everybody.
For sure.
But, hey man, as we're wrapping up here, where can the people find you?
Man, you can find me specifically on Instagram. My handle is Damon Jr. 2, DAMONJR, the number 2. And then you definitely can find my wife and I podcast, Sum It Up. That's SUM, Sum It Up with the Sumners. We're on Instagram as well. Where all the fun and content engagements over there. Sum It Up Sumners is the handle. Sum It Up Sumners. So that's where you can check us out at.
That's what's up.
All right, man. Yeah, just wanted to say thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you for your insight. Like I said, it really just is going to help me be a better husband, especially in the date night area. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to jump back into these notes and put some of these things that you said into practice. I'm sure my wife will be thanking you. So maybe I'll direct her to your podcast and be like, yo, it's worth a listen.
I appreciate y'all, man. I had a good time here. And again, if you listen, I hope you found some value, man. This was a good conversation. I think we need to have more of them.
Definitely. Love to have you back in the future.
For sure.